It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. A tale of two halves in Santa Clara, and it's the 49ers putting rubber to road in the second half. 41-23 is your final. 22 unanswered points in the second half by the Niners before a late DK Metcalf touchdown in the second half gave you your final score at 41-23. Brock Purdy, 18 of 30, 332, 3 touchdowns. A rookie with 0 playoff experience, leading his team in the second half to an offensive explosion the team had not seen this year. 41 points, a season high for the Niners. 505 total yards, a season high as well. Douzable, Pete Prisco here to break down what we saw in this one, fellas, and it really was a story of 2 separate 30 minutes. I want to ask you about the opening drive. Niners get the kick in the second half, Dooz. Longest scoring drive of the season, 13 plays, chewed up 8 minutes of clock. How big was that singular drive in deciding this game?
It was massive. I mean, the momentum shift, right? You saw right before the half, Jimmy Ward makes a mistake, hits Geno Smith as he's sliding. The Seahawks take the momentum back and get a field goal, go up by 1 coming out at half. Now, coming out at half, Kyle Shanahan said, we're going to be physical. We're going to run this football. And then Brock Purdy did a really good job over the middle, finding George Kittle, and then also side-arming one to Deebo Samuel, catch and run to get another explosive first down on third down. But that was a pivotal drive, Musso, for them to take that momentum back. And they really never looked back after that drive. Then we saw the 2 turnovers, back-to-back drives from there. And it was, gas pedals all the way for the San Francisco 49ers after that.
Yeah, look, early in the game, I thought Brock Purdy was a little unsettled. I mean, he had open guys, and he was missing them. That game could have easily been 49ers by 10 in the first half. So I think when you looked at it, you thought that might happen. The end of the kick the ball out of the damn end zone. Please, what are these guys doing? All you do is give them an opportunity to get any sort of play. And, yeah, there was a personal foul that set him up. Kick the damn ball out of the end zone. Bad play by Shanahan. Bad play by Jimmy Ward. But you know what? They responded with that drive, like you mentioned, and give him a lot of credit. Brock Purdy did not play well in the first half, but he responded in the second half. And, oh, by the way, the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan make that so easy on him or any quarterback in that system. It's such a quarterback-friendly way to run the offense and to move the football.
I want to talk about Purdy specifically here in a moment, but just to sort of maybe push back on that, we might be saying the same thing in different ways here, Pete. This is an offense that scored 37 or more points in 4 straight games. First team to do that since the 2019 Ravens. What they're doing offensively is now matching that of what they're doing defensively. When you say it's made easy for him, Pete, where are you seeing it, and why is it not easy for everybody else?
Well, it was easy for Jimmy Garoppolo at times.
That's
It's
fair.
been easy for guys. They made Nick Mullins look good in it at times. I mean, guys have thrown the football in this offense, and the reason is because you can run the ball and you can set things up off that run, and that's what they do. I mean, they get you going one way and they throw back the other way, and then when you start jumping the route to the tight end, when it's Kittle, they throw over the top on a deep over. I mean, they have so many different ways to move the football, and the weapons are outstanding. I mean, when you can get Samuel and Ayuk has emerged as a big play wide receiver, and Kittle in the middle of the field, and then, of course, the matchup problems with McCaffrey. You saw the one play. They split him out wide and ran a slant to him. I mean, that's the kind of things they can do with the personnel in this offense. I'm not taking anything away from Brock Purdy because he's smart. He understands the concepts. He knows how to go through his progressions, and that's great because for a rookie, that's hard to do. But this offense is quarterback friendly, and he's feasting in it because of all the weapons he has around him and his ability to decipher things and see the field.
I will no doubt give you that. It is positionless basketball at time. On the play, Pete was talking about the slant by McCaffrey. Kyle Juszczyk, a fullback, was lined up at tight end, and Deebo Samuel was at tailback. It gives you all sorts of problems and matchups. Dudes, I need your thoughts here on Purdy. 300-plus, 3 touchdowns. We talk about rookie quarterbacks in this moment or any looking for incremental growth. He's just taken it in chunks right now.
Yeah, and to Pete's point, right, it's just about getting the ball to the playmakers. Like we talked about this in the pregame. People kind of scoff at game managers, and I think he's a little bit better than a game manager, but Brock Purdy has done a really good job of just hitting the open man. And to Pete's point, Kyle Shanahan draws up the plays where guys are running scot-free open. That last Deebo Samuel touchdown, that was a simple bootleg. Now, the effort that you don't see is George Kittle blocking on that play, Brandon Ayuk blocking on that play. Nobody was even near Deebo Samuel. He ran scot-free for 60 yards down the sideline. Again, just scheming things up. You talked about it, Moose, putting Christian McCaffrey out in the slot, then putting Juszczyk right there at the tight end position, Deebo Samuel in the backfield. You know how much communication has to go on defense when you do that? And then you get Christian McCaffrey wide open on a quick slant route for a first down. So Kyle Shanahan has done a good job, but Brock Purdy, to Pete's point, he didn't play particularly well the first half. Missed some throws, came back, hit the open receivers in the second half, and the offense, was just unstoppable literally in that second half.
The Niners with the win will host in the divisional round. If the Vikings beat the Giants, it will be the Vikings making their way to Santa Clara. If the Giants beat the Vikings, then it's going to be the winner of that Dallas-Tampa Bay matchup that'll make their way to Santa Clara as well. As we take a look at Purdy and beyond with this team, I feel like we maybe buried the lead here. The defense getting after it as well for the 49ers. We almost take it for granted at this point. In-game adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, Deuce. What are some of the things you saw, and what makes it so easy for this 49ers team to adjust on that defensive side of the ball?
Well, most of the defensive line came alive. That's literally what happened between the first half and the second half. Let's not forget the Seahawks were driving the ball into the red zone, only down by 6, with the potential to take the lead. And then Charles Omenihu, great pass rush stunt up front, comes around scot-free, is able to swipe the ball away from Geno, and then Nick Bosa falls on it. And then later on, even right before the first half, they go on a draw play. Nick Bosa gets up the field, and then you see the effort, him retracing to tackle them, and then they have to settle for a field goal there, too. So to me, it was the defense taking onus. Now, one thing I did highlight in the first half was the matchup between DK Metcalf and Travarius Ward. And DK Metcalf won that matchup today, but Travarius Ward had some big plays in that second half to stop DK Metcalf from having some of those explosive plays. But it was really on the defensive line who really took over in this second half.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned there, the Metcalf plays down the field. And I think some of the things you saw in that game, if you block them, you beat them. Because I thought the Seahawks did a really nice job of protecting Geno Smith, and he got the ball out at times. And that means there's some players open down the field. They look vulnerable in the secondary, and they have good players back there. Look, Ward's had a good year. He had a bad day. He really had a bad day. Hufanga is an all-pro. I don't think he should have been all-pro. I think he's a good player, but he's susceptible in coverage. He's good in the box. I think teams moving forward, if you block them, you will have success throwing against them. The problem is blocking them. I thought Seattle did a good job of it most of the game, but you mentioned it. They did get some pressure in the second half. But all in all, I thought they did a solid job of protecting Geno Smith.
Yeah, this Niners defense holds itself to a high standard. I'm sure there will be coaching points on some of those mistakes. Back to the offense here for a moment. Points on 8 of 10 drives, 1 punt, and a kneel down at the end of the game. So as productive as it gets at the current juncture for Brock Purdy and this offense. Let's talk about the Seahawks for a moment, because the future is very bright. They're ahead of where they thought they would be at this given moment. Right. Deuce, most starts by rookies in the NFL this season. The future is bright. Is the future Geno?
I think it is. I mean, if you look at Geno, he's been there, this is his 4th year, I believe. There now, he's really indoctrinated into the system with Shane Waldron. He's a guy that when that back foot hits, the ball comes out, and he throws with great accuracy. He throws with so much anticipation. So you talked about all those young building blocks you got, right? Tyreek Woolen, Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, Kobe Bryant on the outside. I think you've got to keep Geno at the quarterback position and bring him back. Now, I don't know what they're going to do as far as this offseason, work him out. To me, if you're looking from the team standpoint, it probably makes more sense to franchise tag him this year until you can maybe work out a deal for Geno Smith. Because with guys like DK Metcalf, we saw him go off. We know he has a real rapport with Tyler Lockett, and we love their 2 tight ends in Kobe Parkinson and Noah Fant. Geno Smith is the guy that can lead this team to maybe challenge the San Francisco 49ers in the future. But I think they got to get a deal and lock Geno up.
Yeah, they have to lock him up, but they can't give him a mega deal. I mean, you can't give him a multi-million-dollar deal based on one season. I think he's got to show it again. That's why you mentioned the franchise tag. But if you could get him locked up to a deal that pays him, $21, $22, $25 million a year, okay, I would do that. I think he's shown enough. He's been impressive this season. Much better than Russell Wilson. They knew a lot more than everybody else in the league knew because Geno Smith outplayed Russell Wilson. I think one thing about this team, they had a great draft, and they're building to something. So if you think Geno Smith is that guy, sign him to an extension. Keep him around because he is your starting quarterback. But I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted a quarterback at some point for the future.
And with the name on the front of our minds, Brock Purdy becomes the first rookie quarterback to win a playoff game since Russell Wilson. Pete, Dews, great work as always as the beat goes on for these 49ers. Now 11 straight wins. Come on. 6 of them by Purdy. Never lost. The 49ers, a force to be reckoned with, and that force came alive in the final 30 minutes of this ball game. Divisional round. We'll see you there.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.